Hey, this is the Spark of Madness.
Hello.
Hey, I'm Matt. That's Aaron over there.
Hi.
There he is. We've got a really good show. We're going to go...
I'm just going to take you down. Perfect.
Yeah, that's better.
Beautiful
That's
silence. Is he still doing it? What else can I drown him out with?
We're going to do an 80s movie. We're going back to the past. We haven't done a... Well, I guess we did some older ones with the M. Night Shyamalan thing, but we haven't done a pod like this in a long time.
Yeah.
We're going to do the Last Starfighter, which was a recommendation by Ben because there weren't any new movies coming out.
Because we couldn't think of anything else.
This is my childhood.
Yeah. And when you asked Ben for a
I
movie...
was 6 years old when this movie came out. Or no, wait. 6 days old. Excuse me.
Days, years.
July 13th, 1984.
So, Ben, why did we watch this movie?
Because I love it, and it was a good movie, and it's underrated. And there's actually a lot of...
Underrated?
It is underrated.
Every time I look it up online, people are loving
There's
it.
a big cult following for it, but also it actually... You know, we're so inundated with CGI now, but this is one of the first movies to ever
do that.
Do this.
You don't say.
But you know what?
Come on, it was better than Tron.
But Tron. This is the first time they tried to go photorealistic.
Yeah,
in a movie.
This was they were trying to go for this is so real.
And there's some history behind this where it was even more detailed, the renderings, but the computer couldn't hold.
Yeah, it was taking way too long.
It was going to be 17 months. Like the texture of the rocks and stuff, and like some of the areas were more detailed.
They had to downgrade it to the Jetsons movie level.
They did. They said it was like we can't.
It was 1984. Give him a break.
But they tried something new, and it advanced. It's one of the movies that advanced.
Tried something
CGI.
new with the technique. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
There's some parts that look pretty good.
So, yeah, there's some parts that are like,
I don't mean it like I'm not discrediting the
special effects. I actually like.
I'm not going to discredit the effects.
Even if they're dated, they have a charm to them.
Yeah, they're dated, but they're handled really well. Like they really
good integration.
They had a good eye for the thing. We're kind of jumping the gun a little bit, but I mean, this is
anyway.
This is what we do.
This is basically Star Wars, except for a kid getting out of a trailer park.
You mean they're not warring in the stars?
I think it's its own thing. It doesn't even feel like Star Wars to me.
So what's the? We can kind of hit at what the plot, I guess, is. But what is the difference to you?
Well, one takes place in a galaxy far, far away. This takes place in a galaxy kind of far away.
Not really. It was in Saturn. They went to Saturn kind of first.
Yeah,
so it's in the same galaxy.
Yeah.
So your point stands.
This was now, not a long, long time ago.
Well, it's 1984. So
well, it was then at the time.
I guess your point is moot.
Baby, I'm just sentimentalist.
So, Ben, I think you should be the one to give the synopsis this
Okay,
time.
this movie is about, this is basically, if you're going to relate it to anything, this is Sword in the Stone.
Ah, yes.
This is Sword in the Stone rather than Star Wars because he's King Arthur.
Wait, what?
He's King Arthur because he pulled the sword from the stone.
Would you
which was the arcade, and he even mentioned that this is not Excalibur test. He said,
I'm with you.
And everything I've read, the guy based it on this, based it on King Arthur. You know what I mean? And him pulling Excalibur and to be the king, to be the chosen one. You know what I mean? Out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Out of peasant.
Mm-hmm. And it's not. And so where you're totally right that it's not Star Wars, which may be pulling some similar themes, I guess, but it's different because there's like lineage and other things going on.
Some of the look of it, they had the same special effect people who worked on Star Wars design the ship. He also designed aliens and stuff too. He designed a lot of things, but it was very low budget comparably. It was like only $15 million. I know that's low budget for the time.
Another big difference is that the main actor always looks like he has some chew going on right here.
And his mouth's always open.
So it's about
I always point out movies
King
where
Arthur
their mouths are open.
who plays this arcade at this trailer park. This arcade that is really secretly a training program, a recruiting program to find these starfighters. It was meant to go to Vegas, he said, because it was like, but it was just luck.
It was fate.
It was fate.
Yeah, Centauri.
And then Centauri comes in and picks him up and takes him to the frontier.
But a big aspect, not surprisingly though, that I really did like was the whole trailer park part of it. That it's all about trying to escape and get out of there and do something more. And they did some good little
which is a
dialogue
Star Wars
with
thing, but also which is the classic mythology, which is King Arthur, which is everything. Like
Star Wars didn't invent that.
No, this is a classic hero's journey. Because it's also the reluctant hero journey where the hero doesn't want to do it.
And they did a good job of that, too.
And Luke did that, too.
Yeah.
It's a classic rags to ray gun story.
It is, and that was actually handled funny. Everything was handled pretty funny.
Hold on. Aaron, you should take a bow for that one.
What did he say?
He said it's a classic. Rags to ray gun.
That was pretty good. But
I need no help.
But it didn't.
I need no applause.
In some parts, it didn't. It took itself tongue in cheek. In certain parts, it handled itself very delightful. The dialogue was pretty funny.
Yeah, were there playboys in Star Wars? I don't think so.
And like even the interactions between the characters was really good. In fact, I actually think Galaxy Quest probably stole some ideas from this.
Yeah,
like with the guy getting melted. The spy. I gotta go. Like we're getting out of here, and like things like that. But they developed the characters really good. I think probably the weakest part was the villains, but they were still kind of cool. I mean, but it wasn't about them. It was just about the relationship between.
I don't know, Ben.
What were you going to say, Aaron?
Other than the villains, I would say that the weakest part of the movie was making everyone have a male pattern baldness.
Yeah. I have a little drawing on my notes. Yeah, they all...
It looks different, I'll give them that.
They all look like Larry Davids.
And they all have gigantic 5 heads.
Can I make one comment? One comment, too. I've noticed this in Star Trek and a lot of science fiction movies.
Just change their forehead?
No, yeah. They take some silly petty.
Yeah. Look, wait. We're all out of ideas
on there.
But I think the actual Starfighters,
Cheetos wrappers.
The Starfighters they had looked different. Like they were more like
they had some good stuff going on there.
They did a good job with the prosthetics.
And another good part of that, before we move on, was because they all die immediately. Spoiler. But like what I loved about that was that they had two rows of each kind of alien race that they came up with, and because you need a partner to fly the ship, there's 2 people.
I like that.
And for all of them, they had 2 except for him, because he was all alone. There was nobody sitting in the seat in front of him.
And it was the other guy.
It ended up being the other guy, but it goes back to the whole idea
of the last one.
It's just this arcade machine that randomly showed up in a trailer park, and he's the only one to have ever figured it out. And I thought that was good.
But what I love, because you can see some of the low budgetness of this too, even though they hide it pretty well, is that Star Trek did the same thing. Like in The Next Generation, is like you have all these characters, like really good effects, and they're sitting in an office chair.
I was gonna say the office chairs.
There's this whole office chair.
They even tried to film it one time where they're going up the stairs, and they're just like 10 of them in the back.
This is the hope for the Armada. I mean, now they could put CGI a bunch of people there, but
that's what they were working with. Yeah,
I mean that's what they were working with, and I appreciate that. And it's like, boy, this advanced technology and these office chairs.
Yeah. Boy, I'm learning so much.
Next Generation does the same thing. Like they have all these stuff. I'm like, that's an office chair.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm learning so much from all this. Are you guys ready for a fun fact?
Yes.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Big alien.
It's time for yet another Spark of Madness fun fact.
Not everybody knows that Daniel Day-Lewis underwent a shocking transformation to play the Gunstar itself. And unfortunately, it led to his demise. Turns out, his one weakness is lasers.
This has been a Spark of Madness fun fact.
You drink it up.
I need to really write
Drink
those.
it up.
I need to write those before I do this.
Improv
is not my strong. No, Last of the Mohicans, Last Starfighter. No, never mind. I'll write some instead. I will write those beforehand instead of improving.
I wish your facts were fun.
Claps.
Anyway, so what happens? He becomes the Last Starfighter and saves the whole galaxy.
Oh my gosh!
And
and kidnaps his girlfriend from the
she volunteered.
She was willingly kidnapped.
He said, "You want to go?" He didn't do it. And she came with.
Granny was
cut to like a week later, and she's bored.
Granny dies immediately.
But there's a lot of arcs.
She sorted my pills.
There was a lot of arcs with her. There's a lot of character development. So yeah,
there's lots of ear licking.
There's a lot of reference to ear
and
licking.
That was funny.
I liked the beta stuff. So I really liked the beta.
Well, when they had the test audience, when they did it early on, people loved that so much that they went back and filmed more of the beta stuff.
A little bit, yeah.
And he was in another movie and his hair was different.
I
know.
He
had to wear
a
wig.
It was very different.
Yeah. But it worked because he's a robot.
Looked like Dexter season 4 type of stuff.
Yeah. But he was funny. Like he was so funny.
Well, so beta is basically like he cloned to like stay behind and be the
guy,
the
fill guy, like the fall guy for assassins trying to kill the Starfighter.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And
I thought it was cool how they show him like organically growing into.
Ooh, that was gross.
Yeah.
There's some creepy stuff in this.
I thought
I
they
remember
filmed
the kid being creeped out.
I always seem to be, unless it's just really poorly done. I have a very it's a very low bar for me to enjoy scenes where you have the same actor talking to themselves.
Oh yeah,
I enjoyed those every single time.
But they did a good job in this.
They did a good job. And I also liked the head. I very much liked the head.
That was well done.
Even like he shakes it like
his hands are aiding his movements.
He rubs his nose, and like what I like is the dialogue is hilarious. It's hilarious. Like the
fake laugh. I thought,
Well, the part is like shut up, Lewis. I'll tell Mom about your Playboys. And he says it twice.
Yeah,
it's really funny.
He's just copying.
This is a bad dream, Lewis. It's like this. And the one part I laughed is, we'll get it all fixed before we reach the frontier. Boop, 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 boop. What is that? It's the frontier.
That's great. Yeah,
that line made me crack up. But the delivery was pretty good. Do you know that? You know who that actor is?
No,
I felt like I knew who it was. Though.
Yeah, same
He's
here.
the old man in RoboCop, the first RoboCop. He's the old man, like the guy who says kill him. At the end. Like
Not at all who I pictured.
Yeah,
it just seemed like a familiar skeletal.
They made him
shape.
look like what are those dinosaurs with that?
He looked like a turtle.
The heads.
They said that he's a combination between a turtle and a lizard.
Aren't turtles kind of like lizards?
The ones that, you're right. The ones
I'm
that
no biologist.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
they're actually birds.
Oh, I guess I should give you the fun fact segment.
Yeah. Finds a way.
So Aaron, you were saying right before. Oh, they even said didn't take Excalibur. They even referenced it in the movie. Did you already say that?
Yeah,
I haven't. Oh, you did. Okay,
I said it.
That's not some Excalibur test.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Excalibur. Yeah.
No, this is all based on King Arthur.
Yeah.
All right.
And the Sword and the Stone was the arcade.
So Aaron, you said you also grew up. You at least watched this when you were a little kid. This was the first time I ever saw
it.
What was your kind of? What is your take then and also now?
I watched it so long ago that I remember nothing. So this was like the first time again. It was.
I've watched it so many times. I love it.
I have my VHS copy in bed with me every night.
Every night.
You comfy?
Do you need me to rewind you?
I'm trying to remember if because he beat the other. Okay, so this was. It actually took a decent. It took a decent amount of time for. This is going to go into that video. It took a decent amount of time for them to even get to the Starfighter-y stuff. Like they spent a good amount of time setting up what he was getting away from, like the college stuff and the loan and all that.
It worked.
The one thing I wanted to call out though was the fact that like he's doing it. I thought it was going to be really fun. I thought it was going to be like, well, obviously if he beats the high score, he gets to be a Starfighter, and like everybody's just in on this grand thing that like if somebody is capable of getting a score this much, then the whole trailer park neighborhood's just like, yes, he's going to leave this place and have a better life and all that. But no, they just were literally.
They got nothing else to cheer for.
50 people were just there at like midnight to watch him play a game, which was kind of fun.
Which is corny and hokey.
Very corny.
But it worked.
No one cheers me on when I play Battletoads.
What I liked
there's
about
no audience.
So it was originally
just Aaron.
Originally, it was going to take place at like a subdivision kind of deal.
Should have been in an arcade.
But they said let's do a trailer park because it will give the the people more
sadness of the moment.
Well, no, but more connection with the community. You mean, and that would be realistic because they would know each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's a
and it worked. I think it worked. And they were more together, and they were all rooting for him. So it was more. It was his extended family.
Yeah,
and that was believable.
They also did another little clever thing. They did was like because at the start of the movie, all the aliens are talking in like blah, 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 and then they do that little translator thing, which is just so simple.
Yeah,
like, and you only need to do it once, and everyone gets it.
It's a perfect get off my back.
You don't even need to think about it.
Star Trek developed that with the Universal Translator, but there's one flaw in it that always bothered me.
At the end?
At the very end. How can he understand them at the end if they don't have translators?
Listen, you.
What do you mean?
At the end of where everybody's in the trailer park and stuff, and everybody understands each other, and only the main character has the translator.
But maybe
what if he speaks English? Maybe he speaks English. The lizard people.
I mean, he's British.
The point here is don't worry about that.
Yeah.
It's beside the point.
But I thought that was good character. Like they had a good chemistry, and the guy Alex, he's pretty charismatic.
Good. He's pretty good.
He's pretty funny.
He played the dumb dorky kid pretty well.
He did. He's also in Jaws. The Revenge as the dad.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. But he's funny in that.
What did you guys think of the Death Blossom?
I thought that was cool.
Sounds like what you do after going to White Castle.
Sounds like I always thought it was something on the Outback menu.
Well done. No, let me tell you why the Death Blossom is smart. You know why that works, or why it was a good decision? Because it works within the constraints of what they were able to do with the software. They're not able to construct hugely complicated scenes. They're not able to make hugely complicated models or explosion effects, but gosh darn it, they can rotate those 3D models.
Mm-hmm. But like, it was very well thought out. You know what I mean? Some of the things they had to do to, what they said the guy who designed the ship actually made it a functional ship. Like he had blueprints and everything.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like they really had to think of it like design-wise to scale. It wasn't just somebody who drew something.
I guess what I was trying to say is it's an economic use of their resources to make a set piece.
Yeah. Well, and they really didn't have that many battle sequences.
No,
it was like really just the end, which
they set it up for a sequel, but they never.
Yeah.
I was going to ask about that because it was like
bad guy got away.
Yeah, he got away.
It did well.
You need to rebuild Starfleet.
It got us. It made its money.
Starlegion.
It made its money, and it was a very competent, put together film.
Yeah, it's competent.
The director was. You know who the director was?
No.
I forget his name, but he's actually he went to school with John Carpenter.
Oh.
And he was actually the original Michael Myers.
Huh.
He helped build this. He was a production assistant or something.
Everybody was a production assistant on Halloween.
But they made him into the shape, and he reprised his role in some parts of the new one too. But he's actually directed some good stuff. Matt, as you talk more, I'm going to look up some of the stuff.
You know what my favorite battle sequence was?
What?
Where
Granny runs out with a gun at the end.
Oh my God, she's the racist.
No, I was more thinking along the lines of there's only 25, 30 starfighters in the world or the universe before they all get blown up.
Yes. It was a little
this elite fighting
number.
Force.
Yeah.
Smartest gunfighters in the universe.
It was only a $15 million movie.
And his plan was to sneak up behind the fleet.
Yeah. Yeah.
No one else would have thought of that. Only a starfighter.
In a conspicuously hidden cave somewhere.
Asteroids have caves.
It was like...
So, Aaron, you appreciate this. Yeah. Another movie he directed in 1993 is actually a pretty good movie.
Go on.
It's really good, and we should review it. Dennis the Menace. That was pretty good. And
Walter Matthau was born to play Mr. Wilson.
He was, and Christopher Lloyd was born to play the bad guy in that. And another movie he directed, I've never seen it, but I heard it's funny, Major Payne.
Ah, yes. I've seen most of that movie.
What's the director's name?
His name is The Shape. No, it's Nick Castle, his name.
Nick Castle.
Nick Castle is dead.
With some of the little monster people, it seemed like a Guillermo del Toro kind of creepy.
Yeah.
There were some cool designs.
The tentacle thing.
I
thought the makeup was really good.
Yeah, for the costume and
for
the
the budget,
it
was amazing.
Very good.
And even they made custom helmets for each one. Like in the Starfighter.
Well, and then the one guy, the bad guys, kept having his little vibe.
Yeah,
He's like, it's over to Dragon Ball Z.
Die. Yeah, what do we do now? We die. I love that clip.
Yeah,
and it took forever for it to get the moon. We die.
And then I thought to myself, that's an awfully small moon, or that's an awfully big ship.
Oh, yeah. And it was huge. The ship was huge.
And they did the best they could.
And then they had like the
I'm more forgiving.
The canned
of course.
explosion.
Look, this movie's clearly not like amazing and perfect. It's just fun.
But when you saw it at the time, that would have been blown your away. The special effects.
Obviously.
Because something different. And it's the first time, like they're progressing. They were ambitious to do that.
You got to push the envelope somewhere.
They have, and like if it wasn't for that movie, we wouldn't get Jurassic Park or things like that. Like you have to keep.
I'm fully prepared. Like when we eventually do Legend, I'm not going to pretend it's some masterpiece of cinema. It's just a movie that I love. And we'll be discussing the ins and outs of it.
But this is a pretty well put together movie, and it's enjoyable and charming every time you watch it. Like I would watch it again.
I would too.
It's enjoyable.
Although I would say after they blow up all the bad guys,
they weren't really.
I looked at the runtime of the movie after that because I had to get up and go to the bathroom, and I was like, "There's 12 more minutes."
Yeah.
Well, you get to set up. Yeah.
I know.
It's a pretty short movie.
I was hoping that the bad guy came back, on Earth and was like, "You thought you got rid of me."
He's like, "What are you doing? I'm eating the scenery.
Welcome to college."
Has anyone seen my giant forehead?
Yeah. No, or how about his Batman probe, the scepter?
Yeah. The scepter of
Batman.
The scepter of nondescript power.
Black and white and red all over.
The Last Starfighter.
Shlink, shlink, shlink.
Yeah, no.
That never even came out. What did he need it for?
I'm sure there was stuff left down on the cutting room floor.
There was a
Kinda
lot.
like his frontal lobe hair.
The weakest, the weakest part was clearly the villains.
He may as well not have been in there.
There's zero reason.
It was really too easy for him to destroy everybody.
Yeah,
but I like the strategy. It's like, let's hide in the cave, Alex. But I have to drop you off at home.
Yeah. Well, Greg was very much
Give your mom a kiss for me.
Make you feel bad, and if it's like, I guess if you don't want to go,
he's like gaslighting. Like he controls the whole environmental systems in there. He's probably like fumigating guilty gas at him.
I mean, he can generate power from nowhere.
I also thought that was going to come up. I thought they were going to and maybe that was on the cutting room too. It's like, we just need a little bit more power to get out of the way of this ramming speed ship.
Let's use the recycling unit.
Let's use our life systems to just get power, and
that would have been
fine. Like, what if the air's gone, or I don't know.
The one thing I did like about this movie is like it was showing how awesome those ships were. Like, we don't need a whole fleet.
They did a good job. Yeah, they definitely did a good job.
Because the bad guy was like, oh crap, there's one left. Like they're like, man,
he was definitely worried.
Yeah. Although not worried enough to try to interpret the message sort of clearly.
The Last Starfighter
is dead. Of course he's dead.
Smart.
Boy, this reception's terrible.
Should have got the 4G package.
4G.
We're gonna try that AOL yet?
I've got the CD on my desk.
I have 15 of those CDs.
Someone can cut that scene, and you can just cut the like the
You've
phone
got mail.
It's like the last.
It says I've got mail.
Wait! I'm opening it.
What do we do now? We open it.
We open it.
And then everything explodes.
We open it.
Just slowly go.
But you can see how Galaxy Quest, I think, pulled from how over the top the villains were and stuff, and
well, it very much mimicked some. I don't know. I haven't seen every Star Trek thing, but there's a lot of kind of goofy, ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's
and it's got to have it.
But I think it's its own thing.
Oh, no doubt.
It's not like a spoofy spoof. It's just a cool
idea.
A
spoofy spoof?
A spoofy spoof.
Okay.
Honestly, I think what sets it apart is the backstory, and then is the backstory, honestly, of where he came from. That's what I think sets it apart from other kind of space.
Yeah, no blue milk this time.
Yeah,
and it's a well-rounded, like it's a
and it ended on a great shot of his little brother getting up on the thing and
like,
him wanting to train
he wants to be a starfighter.
Yeah, exactly.
I love much better than the dumb broom ending of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the broom.
But I love that. Like, welcome Starfighter. You know, like it's such a cool in the smoke.
That was good.
Like this baby's got a lot of kick. Like,
and then that's how the sitcom starts. The kid beats the game right away, so he joins the Starfleet at like 10, and then he's like, "Oh man, I have to take care of my kid brother." Wah, wah.
I guess they're in talks to maybe make a series out of it. They were going to make a sequel, but just like it was in
I think the original creator told him not to do it.
Yeah,
I did some reading.
I don't blame him. Like,
yeah,
keep
leave it
its
alone.
Own gem. You know what I mean?
Either that or pull a Blade Runner and then have the sequel be almost nothing it.
I think one of the most powerful parts about this movie that actually lifts it up even bigger than really what it really is the score, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Music was very good.
It's an amazing score. It's like, this is, like, I don't think he scored a lot, but it's up there with Superman theme and Star Wars
Should
theme.
I pull up that Beavis and Butthead Do America screen? You realize Beavis, he never scored.
I was trying to think of a good joke too. He didn't score very often.
Come to Butthead.
But the score, talk about the score, man.
I'm not the person. I mean, he was good. You were humming along at the start.
Dun, da, 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 da. He's done a lot of stuff.
You almost made me spit up my drink.
Talk about the score.
But
man.
no, I think it's
all the people.
I think it was such a cool theme. There's a good love theme in it, and it worked.
There's a cool tongue
and
ear theme.
It was that yearning for journey theme.
Did you say earring for
yearning for journey?
No, I said tongue and ear theme.
Yeah,
you're mixing it up.
Yearning for a journey theme.
Oh,
he did.
I will say that
this is his best theme. He wrote the music to Cheers in 19 like so.
I thought that was Gary Portnoy.
Nope. Well, not the intro.
Oh,
the music.
The other music.
Yeah.
All that saxophone.
This is his best known
Cheers.
score. Yeah, this is his best known score, but it was a home run. It's a good theme.
Now I have to look up Cheers.
If I was a
stingers.
movie director,
Oh, never mind.
and I had to make trailer clips,
you would score so hard.
I would use cheer clips too.
I would use the Last Starfighter theme for stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not a well-known theme that everybody knows what it is, but it's a good theme.
Yeah, forget the Requiem for a Dream.
Is this your
score.
admission of piracy?
No, people do that for trailers all the
trailer
time.
movies, they like a lot of movies they would use other movie scores.
Yeah, like the trailer for Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, I think used the Requiem for a Dream score.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's not identifiable enough to be like, oh, that's the Superman theme. It's like, this is a good theme. What is it? And then you find out, oh, that's from that movie.
I better buy that soundtrack.
Yeah,
available on
I think
MGM.
it's a great score. I think it made the movie even bigger than what it is.
Oh,
I mean,
of
it's
course.
how powerful
Score
music
is
can be.
like half of the movie.
Oh God, yeah.
It depends though. Some
Even
movies
the
I like without a score.
Yeah, but even the soft play of the theme is good. The way they use it,
Lots of variations,
and you can just tell he wants it's that hero's journey, which is great.
You're supposed to feel like you're in the cockpit with Alex.
That's right. And they did a lot of not to keep going back to Star Wars, but they filmed the shots in the and they did a good job kind of moving it around too. And it wasn't so, because they spent a lot of time in the ship that it could have very easily gotten boring. And to your point about pacing, even with the special effects, like they did how limited the 3D effects were too on the outside. They did a good job.
I can imagine the design meetings where they're like, okay, I want to do this and this and this, and then the tech guys are like,
Well, I wish
we could do a cube.
I wish though, if they had the original high detail renderings and they can render them now. Don't go back and redo the special effects, but just find what it would look like if they could have rendered it. If they could render it.
Yeah, just do like some example shots. Don't change the movie.
Well, if they just did, if they
sounds like you want this reboot. Sounds like you want the sequel.
He wants it and he
whatever.
doesn't want it.
Yeah, exactly. I want it and I don't want it. It's like, no, yes.
Is that kind of like your views on the Big Lebowski, Matt?
Yeah, just don't do it. But also, I kind of want to want that to be a thing. All right. Well, do we want to give it a number? Or do we want to? What do we want to do with this one?
I'll give it a number. I would give this movie, keep in mind, I did not technically grow up with this movie, but it it made its imprint on me, and I enjoyed it for what it is. I marveled at the special effects. I enjoyed the score. I wanted to chew tobacco along with Alex. I'd give this movie a 5.
Chew tobacco.
5.
We should end with you, Ben. I'm going to give this a.
That's heartbreaking.
I'm going to give it a 4.
Whoa!
Which
thanks for saving my bacon.
It's like
man.
weird. It's a weird. I have a weird scale. I don't know if you necessarily like if you're coming from it from my perspective. I don't know
of hating everything.
Yes, right. If you're coming from my perspective, not growing up with it as a kid, and just going to watch it right now. For me, a 5 means it's 100% worth seeing it, no matter who you are at this point. So for me, I don't know if you necessarily have to see it.
Yes, you do.
But if you're, I think there's a.
You got to see this. If you
let me finish. Let me finish.
It's his
you
turn.
Can argue.
He's got the conch.
I would say if you either grew up with it or are a younger kid. For sure, this would be definitely worth seeing. For sure,
if you've seen it before, yes, you should see it again.
Yeah, that's a dumb. No,
no. Okay, I would have rated it probably higher if I had, and if I'm younger now and hadn't seen it, I would definitely recommend you see it. I feel like that's not that jarring.
I give this an 8, like an honest 8. You know what I mean? Not
a hard 8.
Yeah,
2 4s?
Like this has a good movie that's well put together. That's pretty good, and
2 4s.
Like a real 8.
That's what a hard 8
and
is.
I think people who like what's sad about this movie is like a lot of people like there's movies like The Goonies and things you can look back on that people like have nostalgia for. Like if you appreciate those kinds of movies and like that you love, this is definitely up your alley. You should watch this. You mean it's not just for nostalgia.
But is it as good as the?
Oh yeah,
well,
I think
Matt,
it is.
I brought this movie up at work to like 4 separate people, and every time they were like, "Oh yeah, that movie's awesome." Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Yeah, okay.
It's a good movie, and it doesn't. I think even though it looks dated in terms of the special effects,
who cares?
The story is timeless.
Dated doesn't matter as long as it looks
I think
good.
It's a timeless. Yeah. I think it's a timeless story. You know what I mean?
That's my big. And as we talked about it, I don't think any of us complained about the special effects.
I actually wish that Ready Player One would have been like this.
Yeah,
because it's the trailer park and all this stuff. This is what Ready Player One should have been.
And this movie's from that magical sweet spot of wide-eyed optimism in movies that I kind of miss. Everything's too cynical now.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And like, it relates to kids because a lot of kids grow up with ambition and dream and that hope. Like you said.
And then they end up in a trailer park.
And then they got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And root for the Bills. I don't know.
The Buffalo Bills
equally as unsatisfying.
But I think if you like a good science fiction movie, something different, not just nostalgia. If you like something that, if you like older movies and want to see this, I think definitely. I think this is worth a watch for any science fiction fan.
I recommend it.
Yes. Wait a minute, we might get sued. That was pretty good.
So I don't think we're doing a pod next week.
I can't believe you gave it 4.
Yeah, I may not be on I'll come back the next pod with a black eye.
I'll leave my own death blossom. Yeah. Right where you sit.
Oh boy. So no pod next week, but then the following week and the week after, we're going to do a whole lot of Oscars stuff and predictions, and we're going to play a game. And if you haven't seen our video, we actually have a trophy this year.
A real trophy.
Colin Orr, who won it last year, he made a great short. So go to watch that on our page and look at what we're all competing for this year, because it's a lot. We've raised the stakes completely.
Can you wait for me to not win? I can't.
Yeah. Yeah, look out for that. So, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.